Hey everyone, it's Danielle, and I just wanted to, since Thanksgiving is coming up, I wanted to make a video telling you guys what I'm most thankful for this year, and I wrote it down word by word, so I'm not going to look at the camera much. My dad always said that when something is important to you and you really want to get it right, writing it down just shows that you put effort into it and you really wanted to get it right. So I'm not gonna be looking at the camera much because I really want to get this out there and say it you know just right. So um here goes. First, you all know my medical problems. I have a permanent ileostomy. I have my rectum removed and due to Crohn's disease, and I have been in the hospital about 13 times in the last 2 years. I've had multiple surgeries. I've had a wound vac and very recently developed pyoderma. So just knowing a little bit of my history, that should, kind of be the forte of the before I tell you what I'm thankful for. I'm going to talk much more because I don't want to ruin it. So here goes. Through all these trials I have been dealing with, God has never left me. He has always been with me. I just had to take my eyes off of my circumstances. Once I did that, I saw God in everything. The way my mom, dad, and my sister Darla tenderly take care of my wound where my rectum was. How they take the time to put lidocaine on my wound before they clean it, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes to take effect. They would do that even if they had to hurry up for work. They never rushed me. They take their time cleaning my wound, doing their best not to hurt me, which is hard. And when I watch their faces, I see how much it takes out of them. It is a lot for me to be going through this, but it is even harder for them to see it day after day. It's a lot. My wound is on my butt after getting my rectum removed, and while in the process of healing, I developed what seems to be pyoderma. It has taken over my entire wound area. It happened overnight. The morning we first saw it, my dad was changing my dressing, and when he saw it, he kind of gasped in and sighed. It's hard to explain just right, but what really sticks out is that he laid his head against my leg, knowing that this was a lot. It was a lot. Um, I saw a look on his face. It was really difficult for him to look at. This is really difficult for him. Since I've developed this pyoderma, they have been even more gentle with it. My sister has been doing it a lot to take the stress, away from my mom. My dad started doing it to take the stress away from my mom. My mom was doing it a lot, and my sister took over for my dad. Um, it's just, I'm going to take that sacrifice. Um, she gets sick even when she watches me get an IV in or my blood drawn. She gets really queasy. Yet she picks up gauze and wound wash and cleans my wound without making a sick face. She does that for me. My mom has fibromyalgia and arthritis in her back, and there she is bending over me to clean my wound for the third time that day, or she squats to make sure the gauze is still in place. My family has been by my side literally every step of the way. God bless me with my family. Also, when I developed pyoderma, my GI doctor had sent me to a wound care nurse. I had been to her before and liked her a lot. She is extremely nice and gentle, completely understanding, especially for someone who doesn't have what I have. She is really understanding. Now, before I go further, I want to explain with you that since my medical problems began about 2 years ago, I have been blessed with Medicaid. All my bills, which have added up to about $300,000 to $350,000 in the last 2 years, have been completely taken care of, which has taken a tremendous amount of stress away that my parents and I would have had to live with for the rest of my life. There is no way I would have been able to pay that off. And it would go to me because, I'm of age. And I don't have the money. My parents don't either. About 3 months ago, I was dropped from Medicaid for reasons which are still a little unclear. So until they review my case, put me back on, everything comes out of our own pocket. Since I cannot work, my parents are paying for it all. So I was stressed out about that, but that was me with my eyes on my circumstances and not God. So when I went to my appointment with my wound care nurse, this was heavily on my mind. She went on to check me out and told me about this dressing called Hydropheric Blue, which has been known to help heal pyoderma. It is very expensive. I explained to her that Medicaid had dropped me, and she completely understood. She knew exactly how expensive it was and how expensive all my supplies would be. So she told me she would talk to her sales rep and work something out. She was able to get me a big thing of saline. I'm going to show you this big thing of saline, which is very expensive if you buy it from the store, and this bottle of wound wash. And plenty of these dressings from Hydropheric Blue. Plenty of these. Because I'm going to have this for a long time. And I don't have to pay for any of it. She got it in a way where she's not making me pay for it. Which I can't even describe to you how tremendous of a blessing that is. And the care in her face is genuine. All these things may seem small to you, but to me they are huge blessings in my life. Everything I've mentioned to you is my manna. I choose the word manna because there's a story in Deuteronomy that touched my heart, and since reading it, my view on things is very different than I used to think. I'm going to go ahead and read you out of the Bible where it talks about manna. It's Deuteronomy chapter 8. Remember how the Lord your God led you through the wilderness for these 40 years, humbling you and testing you to prove your character, and to find out whether or not you would obey his commands. Yes, he humbled you by letting you go hungry and then feeding you with manna, a food previously unknown to you and your ancestors. He did it to teach you that people do not live by bread alone, rather we live by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. For all these 40 years, your clothes did not wear out, and your feet didn't blister or swell. Think about it. Just as a parent disciplines a child, the Lord your God disciplines you for your own good. The Israelites circled the desert for 40 years. If you look at a map, it would only have taken about 6 to 11 weeks for them to cross the desert. Yet God knew it would take them 40 years to, it says that humbling you and testing to prove your character and testing their faith and I like strengthening their faith better. My dad likes that word better, strengthening my faith. And, he wanted them to see that he was always there. Always there. Even though the circumstances were difficult, even though it seemed like they would never get out of it, which I felt that way many times, that I would never get out of my illness or disease. God was always there. And it took me about 2 years to really take my eyes off my circumstances and look towards God. It seems, you hear people say that it wasn't easy for me. My dad the entire time said, God is here. And I was like, yeah, I know. But I really didn't know. It wasn't in my heart. And now that I took my eyes off my circumstances, I really see that he was in every step. I have seen and am still feeling the absolute love and tenderness from my family. It's teaching me how to love and be tender. My brother, my older brother, who has had to watch me, his little sister, go through all of this, now has a deeper love for me. And, I have a deeper love for him. I have a deeper love for all my family, just seeing how tender and loving they are. And they have sacrificed for me in these circumstances. It's not easy for them to see what they have to see. But they do it. They do it for me. And they don't just do it to do it. They really take care of it. My sister-in-law also encourages me. She always sends me text messages whenever she comes over. She always, tells me that I inspire her. It's hard for me to say that. I don't really think I do, but if God's using that through me, then I'm all for it. She encourages me that way too. Also, my wound care nurse being so kind, and my medical bills of $350,000 being completely taken care of. All of these things are my manna. God has never let me go hungry, and He has never let my feet swell. He has always been there. Always been there, and I never saw it until I read that verse and really opened my eyes. I prayed Him to open my heart, and He has. And He's still doing it. So I just wanted to say that all these things are what I'm thankful for this year. And will be thankful for the rest of my life. It's really shown me a lot. It's really made me feel a lot. That's it.